a circus. It's total chaos. It's wild. It's fun. It's exciting. Um, really like this deck. I haven't played the hell out of it, but it is so cool. It's probably not going to win all the time, but man, once it gets its footing, it's just got such crazy stuff going on. So I don't want to spend a lot of time describing every single component of this deck. There's certainly some crossover components from my black um, Tergrid deck, which I posted yesterday. Um, but this is Rakdos. It's got a whole different thing going on. Really, it's got a different feel, but there are some of those core components that are really great. Um, and I'm not saying that this is better than the mono black. I love mono black, but this has got kind of a wild thing going on. So I'm just going to run down and tell you what they are, and follow along and look at the cards, and back up the video. And if you need something to be reinforced, pause so you can look at the cards, but I want to whip through it. So 2 village rights, sack, draw 2. 4 acquisitions expert, they cause the opponent to discard a card. Valky, when it enters the board, you can look at your opponent's hand and exile a creature with Valky, and you can turn Valky into that card. And this Planeswalker is off the charts, baby. It's crazy, okay? Really potent. 2 Kroxa makes the opponent discard. When they can't, they lose 3 life. Whenever it attacks, it does the same thing. It's legendary, and that's kind of important in this deck. Soul Shatter, 3 of these make the opponent discard their highest converted mana cost creature or planeswalker. 1 Varagoth helps you find a cool creature and put it at the top of your deck. It's also a vicious card. Bone Crusher Giant, got 4 of these babies in here. Just because we're playing Kaldheim doesn't mean there's not a place for Bone Crusher Giant. Eradicator Valkyrie, yep, just like the black deck. Wild card. Synergizes nicely with Tergrid. 2 extinction events in this deck just because. It can be a while before you get the kind of creature thing going with this deck. It doesn't have as many little creatures as the mono black. Skull Raid, 3 of those again. Super valuable. Opponent discards 2, or if they have less than 2 in hand, you make up the difference with card draw. Really excellent. Tectonic Giant. Okay, we do have a bit of a giant theme going here if you hadn't figured it out. So we got the Kroxas giant, Bone Crushers are giant. Tectonic is giant, and it doesn't quite end there either. Well, maybe it does. I thought we had one more, maybe not. So anyway, this is a super cool card. When it attacks or becomes a target of an opponent's spell, choose 1, deal 3 damage to the opponent, or exile 2 cards from your library. Choose 1 of them until the end of the next turn. You may play that. So 2 very cool kind of features. 4 drop 3/4. He's giant. Carter's Vicious Return. Okay, super cool new Kaldheim enchantment saga. You may sacrifice a creature. When you do, Carter's Vicious Return deals 3 damage to any target. You don't have to do it, but if you have an acquisitions expert out there, it's perfect timing to do that. Then each player discards a card, feeds right into Tergrid. Then return creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. Gains haste until your next turn. Awesome card for 4 drop. Beautiful card in this deck. 2 of these in here. Super great. 3 Solemn Simulacrum. Just to get the mana out on the board. Get you over that hump to Tergrid. Make sure you're getting it on turn 5 or 6. Also, good blocker. And when it dies, draws you a card. Could probably go with 2 of these and toss something else in. I only own 2 Kroxa because a third one of those would be nice. If you had 3, you could swap out one of these. So there's room to kind of play around here. This is not a deck that has to be, all these components have to be together, but man, it is wild. Tergrid, in case you hadn't seen my other deck, whenever your opponent sacrifices or discards a card, you can take that permanent, including lands, and possess it, put it on the battlefield under your control. An amazing card. It's also 2-sided, and the Lantern is amazing as well. Tap. The target player loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. And pay 4 and untap it and do it all again. Okay, Ox of Agonos. Okay, this just keeps you flush with cards, okay? It's a 5-drop, 4/2 mythic card. When it enters the battlefield, discard your hand. Doesn't matter if you don't have any cards. Then draw 3 cards. That's just awesome. Escape. You pay 2, exile 8 other cards from your graveyard. Boom, it comes back. Okay, so the gift that keeps giving. Ox escapes with a +1/+1 counter on it. So you don't mind even sacking this with village rights just to kind of, it becomes more and more intense. Okay, then Quakebringer, you may have seen this in my redo of the Mirror Terror deck that I posted yesterday. Wild card, also a giant. I knew I had another giant in here. This is such a great card. So opponents can't gain life. That's a key piece right there. So you're going against white, life gain stuff, breaks their back right here. At the beginning of your upkeep, Quakebringer deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability is only if Quakebringer is on the battlefield or in your graveyard and you control a giant. Okay, this is why I said important that we have giants in this deck. So again, we have 7 other giants, I believe, in this deck. So the likelihood if this guy's killed, that he's going to do damage every turn from the graveyard is quite possible. Okay. Then we have Zagras, Thief of Heartbeats. Okay, he's a 6-drop 4/4 flying death touch haste. Doesn't sound like a real bargain, does it? Well, let's read on a little bit. This creature costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Now, we do have a reasonable amount of rogues in this deck. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. So there's a chance you could bring this on for 5. And here's the kick. Other creatures you control have death touch. And whenever a creature that you control deals combat damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. Okay, so to give all of your creatures death touch, okay, come on. This is insane, right? Okay, so we just got one of these guys in here. He's legendary. Now, legendary, we got a lot of legendary cards in here, okay? And the reason I mention that is because we have Tyrite also in the mono black Tergrid deck. This guy can put counters on legendary creatures and make them gods, and then can also make them indestructible. Okay, you have to make them a god first, but then you can make gods indestructible. So right out of the box, we know Tergrid is a god. We also know that Valky is a god. So those guys can become indestructible with Tyrite, but you're sacrificing Tyrite to do that. So pick and choose what you're going to do. There's only one of these in here. The other thing is we have this cool new land card from Kaldheim, Immersturm Skullcairn. Now this comes untapped. It produces black mana, and you can pay 1 black, and 2 red, and tap this, and you sacrifice it, and it deals 3 damage to target player. That player discards a card. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So this is another thing. This card synergizes with Tergrid. So it's nice to have all these little angles of synergy here. So it's just kind of a cool thing here. So let's count up the lands. I think we're around 23, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23 lands, okay? 23 lands is a little light, but we do have enough small stuff here to kind of get rolling. We have, I'm with 3 drops or less, not to mention Bone Crushers, 2-drop shocks. We have 6, 8, 10, 13, 14, 17 cards that are 3-drop or less. So 23, I think you can get by. Again, we do have the Solemn. Once you hit the 4 mark, you can be kicking out the additional lands. So very cool deck. I hope you have fun with it. I took a little longer than I planned on, but hey, I'm going to end right here. Please hit subscribe. Hope you enjoy this. Loving cranking out these Kaldheim decks. Okay, unfortunately I feel I have to mulligan this, and that's good. I got a ton of land. I can actually probably ditch one of those. Hate to though, so I go first. That's good. All right, I think we're just gonna mulligan out the village rights actually, because this gets us into extinction event and at least the lantern, but hopefully Tergrid. I'm gonna keep it. We have to ditch village rights. And we do get to scry with Malice, so that's nice. And Tergrid again. I'm actually going to keep that because the dream of Tergrid and the lantern on at the same time is powerful. Oh, and let's see what to do here. Nothing of consequence there. No decision of consequence. Okay, they've got the mana thing going down here. And it's just a race to extinction event. We have 2 now, so that's really great. Gives us the luxury of time. Okay, this is looking a little scary. I would love to have something here. Okay, more land, which is good. And we're going to put up the lantern, which is great. We can use it immediately. And then next turn, we can, that's great, get rid of some more mana from them. Next turn we can bring Tergrid on and run it again. And risk losing Tergrid, but okay, let's see what we got here. That is a mana cost 3 odd, so I think I'll be compelled to go ahead and use Extinction Event. And all the while we'll be able to use Lantern. Lantern is a powerful card here. Alright, this is fabulous. So this is just going to eat at them a bit. They'll probably take damage. Unless there's something they can stand to get rid of without impact. Like a land. They take the damage. And 3 is a pretty significant amount of damage to take every turn. They counter with Bone Crusher, which sadly is odd mana as well. Okay, they bring on an even mana critter, so that's all that stuff will go away here, and I am going to use Extinction Event again. Get rid of everything. And we can run the Lantern again. So we are gaining some advantage here. This is nice because I can Village Rights Tergrid if I need to. Okay. This is great. Tough game here. Take the damage. Okay, we'll get Fabled Passage. That's awesome. There you see a little Tergrid in action. And they're kicking. Okay, they get counters. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and get this because just taking land out of our deck is good. Increases the odds of getting other things, like right now we have enough mana for the Planeswalker T-Ball. We're going to let that come in. So yeah, that hurt, but okay, this is perfect. So what we are going to do is we have enough mana. Let's just do the count here. 5, 8 mana. We have enough mana to run the Lantern twice. It's not enough to kill them, but very close. And they can't kill us as things stand right now. So I could come in with the acquisitions expert. I think that's the thing to do because it's a blocker, and run the lantern twice. Ditch the card, we'll possess it. Okay, I like that. That's cool. I don't know why we didn't... Oh, it's not a permanent. Okay, it's an instant. Okay, we'll run the lantern. We have enough mana to untap the lantern. This is amazing. So I think we've got game in hand here. We're going to untap the lantern. They can't block. We're going to tap the lantern. And will they ditch this? They take the 3. Okay. And what we're going to do is block Bone Crusher with... Okay, that's a potent card, but I'm not concerned about it at all. Actually, it's a good game. We've won the game with Tergrid and the lantern. All we need to do is announce the blocker here. Yeah, I think their best bet here is to not attack, so they have the blockers. And they're going to attack with 2. And that's the game. An excellent game. Good demonstration of what you can do with this deck. Okay, good opening hand. We got bunch of stuff we can play with 2 mana, and we're going to hope for more. Mana, that is. Okay, acquisitions expert. We got another land. It's just fabulous here. Okay. All right, excellent here. Possibility of a counter spell here. They don't have one. Force them to ditch another card. Wow, that was an entire waste of a spell. Well, maybe not. Into exile it goes. Let's see. Well, and then regardless, they are light in the cards. Okay, excellent, really excellent here. Simulacrum comes up, and bring it right on. That gives us 5 mana and makes me want to hold on for the Planeswalker. Although, well, anticipate, okay. We do have the Ox, which could bring us a whole bunch of stuff. We could really empty their hand. We'll see what we draw. Okay, excellent. So that just reinforces that we got to hold off for the Planeswalker. And we will use Skull Raid here. And that's got to hurt. They're going to have to ditch 2 cards. When they use one here. Okay, so now they still have to ditch 2 cards, folks. Okay, both lands, okay. I could bring Valakyon if they... It could be a big waste, though, because it's probably not a creature. as they haven't had a single creature yet, but we've managed to empty their hand, which is awesome. Oh, they're going to kill that. Okay, and exile so we don't get the card draw. That's okay. Given that Valky is a god, okay, never mind. We're just going to bring up Tergrid here. Really hoping they don't have a counterspell here. They do not. Okay. Alright, in we come. Some fairly noteworthy damage here. We'll see if they've got something in hand for us. They don't. It's looking like fairly desperate times with the opponent here. Okay, it is Planeswalker time. Okay, that should be the icing on the cake.
Make no mistake, I'm not.
We're going to go ahead and take no chances here. We're going to make Tergrid indestructible.
Surely you can handle a little pain?
You're going to have something in hand to not lose this game right here. Okay, that's not going to help them though, because they need 2 blockers. Oh boy. Shark Typhoon lands on our side of the board. An excellent game. Okay, so just wanted to tell you that I have made a quick change to this deck. Swapped out 1 card. Yeah, I was struggling a little bit with getting the necessary mana at times, so I took out 1 Skull Raid, dropping us to 2, and added 1 more Fabled Passage, so we're up to 24 lands. I think it's going to make a bit of a difference, and we'll use the Bone Crusher here to take out the Horn Beetle. Okay, and we're going to take this opportunity to throw up Vargoth. And next turn, one option is to run Vargoth and use Boast and drop the Skull Raid into Fortell. And the luxury here is that this creature cannot kill my creature. If it blocks, it's going to die, so there won't be a block. So first of all, we're just going to go ahead and attack. Pay Fortell. Go find Tergrid. Put it on the top of my library, and this is how it works, folks. This is, you're getting a look at how the synergies in this deck work. And this is just fabulous. So now Vargoth has done its job. Now he's just a nice blocker. And we're looking for land here. So we do have Skull Raid ready to go, and we could come in and do a shot to face. The other thing we could do is come in with Vargoth again, pay 2 and get another Tergrid, so we have the Lantern, and then run Skull Raid. And then yet another option is just to run Soul Shatter and get rid of Arasta, which I think is, let's see, it will create a 1/2 creature, but who cares? I think that's the thing to do right now. And this is giving it +1. +1. Okay. We'll stay put. So that I did not realize they had the same converted mana cost, but alright, and there's another one. Okay, so let's see what to do. I guess we're going to throw up an Acquisitions Expert and then run Skull Raid. Might as well, short of being able to do something bigger at this moment, as we're waiting for land, even though we've brought up the land count to 24. Okay. And now Skull Raid. So this is going to really take 3 out of 4 of their cards. They do get another Spider, which is a big problem. An extinction event would be lovely. We're just going to stay put. Have our vicious blocker ready. Okay, there's what we need. No attacks. Okay, and that gives us another turn, and this is really going very well now. So we have 6 mana. Instant or sorcery, that does not equate to this. Yeah, we're going to do this. This does a number of things, so they're going to have to sack, and what they'll do is they'll sack a token, so we won't possess it, but we'll kill this. They're going to have to, next turn, discard a card, so we will possess that. We're just going to sit right here and no attacks. Soul Shatter next turn, and we shall take possession of Arasta. They'll get another token. But see what the opponent does here. We're about to be in the driver's seat. They could bring in some very heavy cards, but they are going to lose what they bring. So we should be gaining 2 of the opponent's cards next turn, at minimum. I can see bringing on Bone Crusher next turn and running Soul Shatter. Okay, they're going to get rid of Varagoth, which is unfortunate, but good move. That frees them up to attack, but I don't really see it happening. Just going to leave themselves wide open. Okay. They've clearly got weapons, but they're gonna be in trouble when we possess things of theirs. Okay, cultivate. That's fine. They're gonna have to discard this card. Well, they have a land, so we may end up with just a land. It's likely. Okay. Discard a card. That'll be this land. They'll discard the land. I'll get it. Okay, we'll take that. And now for the fun part. We'll create a token. We'll take that. And we're off and running. And now we'll throw up the giant. And we will not attack with Tergrid because they could use all 3 of these to block. And now I get to see if I got a creature in here worth taking. With Varagoth will come back on the board with a +1/+1 counter on it next turn, which is huge. We can go looking the following turn for Tergrid and use the lantern, which will really present major problems. Oh, and now we'll create spider tokens. That's great. All right, big moment here. And let's see, toss the land up. We'll go ahead and hit them to face. Put up the giant. And we're going to attack with Varagoth and pay the boast. And they may elect to kill him, I'm not sure. And this is, you're getting a great look at this deck and its potency. Okay, they lose a token. They've got a big creature, but I'm not too darn worried about it. It doesn't have trample. So we're going to go ahead, and I think we can run this twice. So they're just going to take the damage probably. We can run it twice. And this is putting them into somewhat scary territory. And I don't think they're going to attack because we can probably wrap this up next turn if they do. Okay, they're going to get rid of Tergrid, which is a shame. And we're not getting what we need here, but this is going to be a persistent problem for them. As we can continue to do this and just eat them alive. Amazing, okay? Is this not an amazing thing here? Oh, they sack creature, and that's the game. They see the handwriting on the wall. I hope you enjoyed this, folks. Yeah, what can I say? This is cool stuff. Standard is back. Have a great day.